Inventory turnover is an essential metric that all organizations need to track. Inventory turnover can reveal everything from how your pricing is, how long a product is sitting, and even how long your money is tied up. With that said, let's focus on what inventory turnover actually is. Formally defined, inventory turnover is the number of times your inventory cycles or turns over in a year, or a defined period of time. Inventory turnover can help an organization understand how efficiently their inventory is supporting sales. The inventory turnover number implies how often inventory was bought and sold throughout a defined period. Put another way, inventory turnover is an indicator of how well a business is using their inventory. For example, how many dollars of sales from a cost perspective are being supported by each dollar of inventory. Low inventory turnover numbers often hint at overstocking, obsolescence, or unstable processes. A high inventory turnover can also be dangerous if it is depleting reserves too quickly, but generally points towards strong sales and effective inventory management for an organization. Now that we know what inventory turnover is, let's break down the ratio and understand what it means. Put very simply, the ratio tells us the number of times the inventory is sold and replenished or turned over in a defined period of time. With this in mind, many organizations also use the ratio to help them understand how long it will take to sell the inventory they have on hand. The inventory ratio divides two numbers, which are cost of goods sold and average inventory. The output of this formula tells an organization how many times inventory turns over in a specific period of time. As you might have guessed, a high inventory turnover ratio means that you cycle inventory much more often, and as mentioned before, is good evidence of strong sales and effective inventory management. It is important to note that engineer-to-order companies and make-to-order companies may have lower inventory turnover ratios, as the products are much more customizable and not usually sold in large volumes. Nonetheless, if an organization has a low turnover ratio, inventory analysis is needed to find the cause. Now, let's look over briefly at how the turnover ratio works. As mentioned earlier, turnover is calculated by dividing the cost of goods sold by the average inventory. Average inventory is used to smooth out the peaks and valleys of inventory and give you a more stable, consistent metric to work with. This also helps to smooth out seasonal fluctuations, such as holidays or even major events. With this new piece of knowledge, let's walk through the steps of calculating inventory turnover. As we've mentioned, inventory turnover is calculated by dividing the cost of goods sold by the average amount of inventory. First, we start by getting our average inventory. The most common way to do this is by adding your beginning inventory and your ending inventory for a defined period and dividing that by 2. Now that we have our average inventory, we need to gather our total cost of goods sold for a period. This can generally be found on an income statement, but you may need to do some calculations to find it. Once you have your cost of goods sold, we are ready to calculate our inventory turnover. To do this, we divide the cost of goods sold by the average inventory amount. Let's look at an example. Let's say we have a company called K&K Manufacturing. K&K has posted a cost of goods sold of $1,500 and an average inventory amount of $500 on hand for the fourth quarter. We would then divide $1,500 by $500, which gives K&K an inventory turnover ratio of 3. In the second example, we'll use the same company, but this time compute the average inventory period, or how long it will take to sell the inventory currently on hand using inventory turnover. We already know the inventory turnover ratio is 3. To calculate how many days it will take to sell the inventory on hand, we simply divide 365 days in the year by 3, which equals 121.67 days, or 122 days if we round our answer. We now know how long it will take to sell the inventory. And that's it. Inventory turnover. Now, let's challenge ourselves a bit. Let's say K&K posts data for the next quarter. This quarter, they have an average of $2,000 and a cost of goods sold of $1,100. What is their inventory turnover? And what does this number indicate or reveal to you about how their inventory has changed? We look forward to hearing your answers, and we'll see you in the next video.